Chapter 1. I was discussing business with a client at the Sovereign Club when my wife showed up with her male assistant, demanding our private room. My wife, Victoria, had clearly been drinking, leaning heavily on her assistant, Ethan Cole. Their posture was intimate. Before I could say anything, Victoria accused me of following her. She insisted she and Ethan were just colleagues, subordinate and superior, that I was being small-minded and misinterpreting things. My client tried to intervene, only to be verbally abused by both Victoria and Ethan. The deal was nearly ruined. I didn't argue further. I decided on divorce, but that threw her entire family into a panic. And Mr. Sterling, with your network in this industry, it's frankly insulting that you're still just a sales manager, my client. Mr. Finch raised his glass again, his offer sincere. If you're ever willing, the position of president for our group's North American division is yours. Inside the private room at the Sovereign Club, Mr. Finch's sincerity was palpable. Uncle son, I'll consider it. I smiled, raising my glass. Mr. Finch, let's finalize the contract first. Once this export deal was settled, I could finally take a break. There were personal matters needing attention during that time off. Just then, the door to our private room burst open. This is Victoria Ainsworth, the president of Sterling Trading. How dare the Sovereign Club not have a room ready for her? The man speaking was tall and handsome, but with a slick, almost greasy air about him. And cradled in his arms was none other than my wife, Victoria Ainsworth. Victoria was obviously drunk, her hand wrapped tightly around the man's waist as I watched. The man was her assistant from the president's office, Ethan Cole. Sincere Sterling, what are you doing here? Ethan's tone was oddly accusatory when he saw me. Business, I replied calmly, betraying no emotion. Emotional control is a prerequisite for a successful businessman, even when faced with the possibility of being cheated on. Rumors had been swirling at the office, especially after Victoria bought Ethan a Maserati using company funds under some flimsy pretext. I'd asked Victoria about it, told her if she loved someone else, she should just say so, and we could divorce amicably. But she denied everything, insisting she and Ethan were innocent, even threatening suicide to prove her point. I'd believed her, until I saw this. Hearing my voice, Victoria quickly pushed Ethan away, panic flashing in her eyes. But instead of explaining, she lashed out, embarrassed and angry. Sincere, were you following me? Oh, let's be logical, I said, gesturing to the table with the food and drinks. I booked this room for a client meeting. We've been here for almost an hour. Does a tracker usually arrive before the person being tracked? Mr. Finch chimed in quickly. Yes, Madam President. Mr. Sterling and I have been here for quite some time. He looked awkward. Anyone could see what was happening. My wife cheating on me. However, I caught a flicker of excitement in his eyes. He probably hoped I'd get divorced and then join his company. Who do you think you are, interrupting Madam President? Ethan pointed a finger rudely at Mr. Finch. Then he turned to Victoria. Victoria, Sincere must have known you were coming, known you like this room. He did this deliberately to embarrass you. And Sincere, you're so sinister, disgusting. Victoria immediately believed Ethan's words, pointing at me. I can't believe how petty you are. I've told you countless times Ethan and I are just colleagues. Why won't you trust me? Chapter 2. Mr. Finch's expression turned cold, a dangerous glint in his eyes. He was in import-export, often working in unstable regions abroad. He'd built his fortune living dangerously, the kind of man who'd licked blood from a knife's edge. I placed a hand gently on Mr. Finch's arm, giving him a subtle nod, then stood up and walked towards Victoria and Ethan, stopping right in front of them. Ethan pointed at me. What are you doing getting so close? Angry because I exposed you? Victoria glared. Sincere, don't you trust me? After all this, she could still ask about trust. Trust isn't the issue right now. I loosened my tie, my gaze fixed coldly on Ethan. The important thing now is that you owe Mr. Finch an apology. And me? Ethan scoffed. Apologize to him? He sneered. I'm Victoria's special assistant. He's just a client of some low-level sales manager like you. Does he deserve my apology? Funny you apologize, I stated calmly. I nodded, then moved swiftly, grabbing Ethan's hair and yanking him forward. Before he could regain his balance, I kicked the back of his knee, forcing him to kneel before Mr. Finch. I smashed a bottle and pressed the jagged glass against Ethan's face. A last chance. Apologize, or I'll scar you. I'm sorry, Mr. Finch. Ethan was crying, terrified he'd actually wet himself from fear. Mr. Finch remained silent. He stood, buttoned his suit jacket, gave me an appreciative look and said, Mr. Sterling, my offer stands. Contact me anytime. Please, handle your family matters. Then he left. Ah! Victoria screamed, rushing to Ethan's side and kneeling. She looked up at me furiously. Sincere, are you crazy? How dare you hit Ethan? Even if you're jealous, there's a limit. When jealous? I sat back down, slowly wiping my hands with a silk napkin. Victoria, you misunderstand. I'm not jealous at all. I hit him because he insulted my client. Every client is part of my network, a resource I must protect. That's all. Even now, I felt no emotional turmoil. Was it because I didn't love Victoria? Of course not. Otherwise, why would I have worked so hard to build my business, only to make her the figurehead president just to give her status? But I am also extremely rational. When infidelity taints a marriage, I cut ties immediately. Why aren't you jealous? Victoria asked, bewildered. I gave her a chilling look. Victoria, when I loved you, you were the moon in the sky. Now that you're tainted, you're like shit in a pit. No one gets jealous over shit. When you called me shit? You mean you don't love me anymore? Fear filled her eyes. I lit a cigarette, crossing my legs. Victoria, we've been together 7 years, haven't we? You should know me well enough. I find even my clothes disgusting if my brother wears them. How do you think I feel about a woman touched by another man? Don't you think I find you dirty? With that, I stood up to leave, and she wasn't touched by anyone else. Victoria ran over, hugging me from behind. Honey, you really misunderstood. There's nothing between Ethan and me. I was just drunk, and he was helping me. I frowned in disgust, letting the cigarette slip from my fingers. It landed on the back of her hand. She yelped in pain and let go. Chapter 3. See, you were embracing him. What needs explaining? Son, get drunk at business dinners often enough. Have you ever seen me being held up by another woman? I sneered. I'll have my lawyer draft the divorce papers. Let's end this. And no, I don't want a divorce, Victoria cried, but lacked the courage to follow me. Ethan quickly went to her. Victoria, don't be afraid. You're the company president. If he makes trouble, just fire him. He's just a kept man living off you. What's there to fear? Before heading back to the office, I called the shareholders. When I arrived at Sterling Trading, I noticed the staff looking at me strangely. Ignoring them, I went to my office. Julian Vance, the VP of Sales, hurried in, showing me his phone. It was the company-wide group chat. Ethan Cole had tagged everyone with a message. And sales manager Sincere Sterling has been fired. No wonder the employees were looking at me that way. That was the reason. Seriously, brother, whose company is this anyway? Julian complained, clearly unhappy. Your wife is turning a perfectly good company into a mess. Everyone's talking about you being cheated on, and that Ethan guy struts around like he owns the place. If this continues, my family's pulling out our shares. And I can handle it. Go back to work. I waved him off. Julian still looked worried. If you're feeling down, I can grab a drink with you. I'm not the one at fault. Why should I punish myself with alcohol? I smiled. Don't worry, brother. I've got this. I already spoke with your father on the way back. Julian nodded and headed out, but paused at the door. Isabel's back in the country. I still think you'd be a better fit as my brother-in-law. I ignored him and continued working. After finishing up, I had my driver take me home. As soon as I opened the door, I smelled cooking. Victoria's voice came from the kitchen. "Honey, is that you? I made your favorite dish. Come wash your hands." I sneered inwardly. I'd seen another man's shoes by the door. Ethan's, undoubtedly. Is this woman brain damaged? How could she dare bring Ethan home? I changed my shoes and walked in. In the kitchen, Ethan was feeding Victoria a piece of meat, the joyful look on her face. She was clearly smitten, acting like someone in love. Honey. Victoria panicked when she saw me. Don't misunderstand, I was just tasting for salt and my hands were full, so I asked Ethan to help. No need to explain. I paused. And by the way, you don't need to call me honey anymore. I took the divorce agreement out of my briefcase. Sign this. We'll finalize the divorce tomorrow. Victoria stared in disbelief. Honey, are you really divorcing me? Then Sincere Sterling, you have some nerve. Ethan started yelling at me. Victoria here is already humbling herself, cooking for you. What more do you want? He pointed at me angrily. I even came here personally to apologize. Don't push your luck no when you're beaten. Hearing this, I laughed. I took off my suit jacket, slowly removed my watch, and loosened my tie. Ethan, I asked, are you taking yourself a bit too seriously? What do you mean you personally came to apologize? Is your apology worth so much? Are you any better than me? Ethan retorted. I'm the president's special assistant, second only to her. Chapter 4. What are you? Just a sales manager, Ethan shouted. If you weren't Victoria's husband, you wouldn't even have the right to talk to me. With that, Ethan rushed at me. I easily kicked him away, but he came at me again. This time he grabbed my arm tightly and hissed, Go on. Hit me. The more you hit me, the worse you look to Victoria. When you divorce, I'll take your place. I laughed again. No longer bothering to hit him, I patted his shoulder. Kid, what kind of stupid soap opera have you been watching? Do you think high society games are child's play? What do you mean? Ethan clearly didn't understand. I shook my head, smiling. And since you don't get it, let's get everyone involved and talk this through. Soon after, Victoria's family arrived. Arthur and Eleanor Ainsworth, her parents, and her brother Sebastian Ainsworth. Arthur and Eleanor had always treated me well. Although I came from humble beginnings, the wealth I possessed now made me part of the elite. And I'd earned it all myself, with no help from the Ainsworths. So her parents had always respected me. Sincere, what on earth is going on? Arthur Ainsworth asked, wringing his hands. Hearing about the divorce had clearly agitated him. I pointed to Victoria and Ethan. Then they're involved. This Ethan fellow just tried to provoke me into hitting him, hoping to make me look bad in front of Victoria so he could take my place after the divorce. Hearing this, Arthur's face hardened. Eleanor pointed at Ethan, furious. Sungus, you worthless trash, thinking you can climb the social ladder through such despicable means? You're not worthy. Arthur ground his teeth. And I'd rather disown my daughter than let your kind into the Ainsworth family. Just then, Sebastian Ainsworth, my brother-in-law, arrived. He clearly knew what had happened. He looked at me grimly. Brother-in-law, leave this to me. I'll make sure he disappears. Victoria, say something, Ethan pleaded, terrified. He hadn't expected the Ainsworths to defend me so fiercely, but Victoria ignored him, crying as she looked at me. Honey, I really know I was wrong. Please give me another chance. Ethan interrupted desperately. But don't accept this. Sincere Sterling and I both started from nothing. Why can your family accept him but not me? So listen carefully. Sebastian snapped at Ethan. And brother-in-law started his own business while still in university. Even though it was small, he refused our family's help. When the business grew, he made my sister president just to give her status. Sebastian gestured towards me. We all saw how my brother-in-law built himself up from nothing. Then he turned back to Ethan with contempt. And you, what are you? Trying to climb the ladder by seducing a married woman? Sebastian sneered. Let me tell you something else to crush your hopes. Even if my sister lost her mind and married you, you wouldn't get a penny from the Ainsworths. Don't forget, I am the family heir." Despair washed over Ethan's face. Victoria didn't say a word to defend him. I looked at Ethan. The elite aren't idiots. People without ability who try to take shortcuts are considered losers, no matter what class they're trying to break into. Then I told the Ainsworths that the divorce was final. They were helpless and could only take Victoria away for the time being. I could see Victoria didn't want the divorce, but realizing her mistake now was too late. As for whether I was upset, Chapter 5. Losing a relationship of so many years certainly hurts, but I wouldn't torture myself over it. After a night's rest, I arrived at the office early the next day. An employee told me Victoria had called a board meeting and I should go to the conference room immediately. What was she planning? I entered the conference room to find Ethan Cole sitting in my usual seat. The shareholders looked at me strangely. I took an empty seat and looked at Victoria, who was at the head of the table. "What do you want?" Victoria stared back coldly, her eyes fixed on me. "Sincere Sterling, I'm giving you two choices, either resign or stay married to me." "Divorce," I said without hesitation. Victoria trembled with anger but declared, "Fine, then I announce your dismissal from all positions at Sterling Trading." Ethan looked at me smugly. Well, Sincere Sterling, even though I won't get anything from the Ainsworth family, I'll have a stake in this company soon enough." "A war stake? Who do you think you are?" I glanced at him dismissively. "Do you really think Victoria would marry you?" Ethan looked confident, glancing towards Victoria. But Victoria told him coldly, I said it before, we're just colleagues, a normal superior-subordinate relationship. Don't get any ideas. Victoria, how could you?" Ethan was devastated. Victoria's face was icy. "Putting aside the fact that nothing happened between us, even if something had happened, and even if I divorced Sincere, I would never marry someone like you." "Someone like me?" Ethan was stunned. "Aren't you the type who tries to use women to get ahead?" Victoria stared at him. "I was nice to you because Sincere wasn't paying attention to me anymore, and I wanted to make him jealous. Even yesterday at the club, I only went there because I knew Sincere would be there. Otherwise, I never let you get close. Why else would I have let you hold me yesterday?" "You." Ethan's world seemed to crumble. He looked completely lost. Victoria ignored him and turned to me. "Honey, there was truly nothing between us. I just wanted to make you jealous. I know I went too far, but you know how much I love you. Please, give me a chance." "Divorce." I looked at her impassively, feeling no emotional fluctuation. I don't go back on my decisions, and frankly, I found her tainted, even if it was just an act. But she let Ethan hold her. That I would never forgive. Everyone has boundaries. She crossed mine. "Sincere, if you insist on divorce, then I have no choice but to fire you," Victoria pleaded desperately. "You built this company from scratch. I know how much it means to you." I shook my head and smiled. "You may be the president, it's true, but I own 65% of the shares. I am the owner of this company, and you are nothing." "What?" Victoria froze, as if just remembering this crucial fact. I had wanted to give her half the shares initially, but the shareholders objected. Why? Because the Ainsworth family is powerful. If Victoria held significant shares and was the legal representative, she could easily inject capital to dilute existing shares, making the original shareholders the biggest losers. But the shareholders trusted me. Chapter 6. They were the initial investors when I started the company from scratch, so they knew my character. But the Ainsworths, with their vast wealth, were pure capitalists untrustworthy in the shareholders' eyes. So, the majority shares remained with me. I pointed to the conference room door. "All right, your position is terminated. Get out. Don't disrupt our meeting." Victoria stared at me, lost and helpless, slumping back in her chair, unable to say a word. I looked back at Ethan. So kid, now do you understand how high society games work? Ethan opened his mouth but couldn't utter a sound. I wasted no more time on them and called security to escort them both out. The board meeting ended and the shareholders left, satisfied. However, there was some unrest within the company. I inquired and learned that rumors were spreading. Essentially, people were saying the Ainsworths were the largest shareholders and were pulling their investment, meaning the company was doomed. Mid-level and senior management knew the truth, but the junior staff didn't, and they believed it, or were uncertain, fearing for their jobs. I had Julian investigate. The rumors were spread by people loyal to Victoria. As president, it was easy for her to place her own people in certain roles. They weren't key positions, so I hadn't paid much attention before. Besides, I used to trust Victoria completely and wouldn't have suspected anything. Now these people acting together were causing a minor disruption. But these minor players were easily dealt with. Firing them wouldn't affect the company. They were quickly let go. The company issued a statement clarifying that I was the majority owner, which finally calmed the junior staff. Sitting in the president's office, now mine again, I felt a strange unease. The desk was covered with photos of Victoria and me. Most were from our university days. I took a deep breath, about to call someone to clear them all away. But then I noticed a diary. Opening it, I recognized Victoria's neat handwriting. There wasn't much written, but it still pained me. Sincere is getting busier and busier. It's been so long since he took me to the movies. Business isn't that important, is it? Sincere and I have enough money to live comfortably for the rest of our lives. A new intern started, slick and trying to flirt with me, kind of amusing. So maybe I can use this amusement to provoke Sincere a little, make him jealous. I closed the diary, unwilling to read further. Not because I was wavering, but out of a sense of regret. She must have forgotten my promise to make enough money by 40, retire, and travel the world with her. That's why I'd been working so hard. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Isabel Vance came in. Isabel was Julian's younger sister, Isabel Vance. She was 5 years younger than me. I remembered her coming-of-age party. She got drunk and secretly confessed her feelings for me. She told me, Sincere, I won't interfere with you and Victoria, but you're the first person I've ever liked. I'd regret it if I didn't tell you. Don't feel burdened. I'm going abroad soon anyway. I hadn't felt burdened, and I admired her straightforwardness. Seeing her now after so many years, she had grown even more beautiful. Sincere, my brother said you need an assistant, so he sent me to help, Isabel said shyly. I nodded. Have someone clean up in here. Take my things from my old office over. As for these, I gestured to the photos and diary, burn them. Chapter 7. I left the office shortly after. Back home, I had someone pack up all of Victoria's belongings, but traces of her were everywhere in the house. Cute matching toothbrushes, comfortable matching pajamas, the kitchen utensils she'd carefully chosen. Even the refrigerator was still covered with sticky notes she'd left. In her neat handwriting, she'd written, I love you, over and over. Maybe I should give her another chance. I hesitated, swayed for a moment. Just then my phone pinged. It was a picture from Julian. On a beach, Victoria was bare-backed while Ethan rubbed sunscreen on her. Below it was a short video. After watching the video, I cursed myself for being a fool. Just moments ago, I had actually wavered. At that exact moment, Victoria and Ethan showed up again. Ethan was shirtless, carrying thorny branches on his back, a dramatic display of begging for forgiveness. He knelt as soon as he entered. Mr. Sterling, I've come to beg for forgiveness, he proclaimed. So I admit I wanted to use Victoria to get ahead, but just as she said, she never gave me a chance. Now I've lost everything, but I believe in having some conscience. All I ask is that you forgive Victoria. Ethan finished speaking and started kowtowing repeatedly. Victoria cried, Honey, I was really wrong. Please just give me one more chance. I turned off my phone, acting as if I hadn't just seen the picture and video. Let's divorce. It's the best outcome, I said meaningfully. But Victoria shook her head firmly. Honey, I won't divorce you. Even if you won't give me a chance, you have to give our child a chance. I'm pregnant. I'm carrying our baby. Are you sure you don't want a divorce? I asked. Victoria nodded firmly. I nodded too. All right then, no divorce. Ethan immediately exclaimed, Mr. Sterling, rest assured, I will disappear from your lives, and then he ran off. Victoria wept with joy. I said nothing, just told the staff to stop packing and put everything back. Victoria hurried to cook for me, but halfway through her preparations, I got ready to leave. Honey, where are you going? Victoria asked pitifully. I glanced at her. Isabel is back. We made plans for dinner. You eat by yourself. Well, honey, she likes you, don't. You need to be careful? Victoria asked agitatedly. I looked at her. Either stay out of my business or we get divorced. Choose one. He won't interfere, honey, I trust you, Victoria said, her face crestfallen. I nodded and left without another word. As for Isabel, I really did have plans with her. She missed the late-night diner near our old high school, so we went there. Heavy, spicy food, washed down with ice-cold beer. Before we even finished eating, both our stomachs were killing us. The diner only had one restroom, so we took turns. By the time we left, we were both feeling weak. Isabel, wearing a white dress, sighed. Sincere, our reunion isn't exactly romantic. I nodded in agreement. One owner even asked me why we were making such a racket in the restroom. A racket? You mean the bathroom sounds? Isabel blushed but couldn't stop laughing. We walked until we were tired, then got in the car, and I had the driver take her home. But Julian stopped me, saying he wanted to have a drink with me. Chapter 8. I took some anti-diarrheal medicine first, then joined Julian for drinks. Isabel came along too, joining the fun. Hey man, is the deal with Mr. Finch solid? Julian asked with a smile. I nodded. Mr. Finch and I are on very good terms personally. Last year, his security company over there needed weapons. I connected him with a domestic broker. Solved a big problem for him, so the partnership is secure. Shit, wow, that's a huge contract. Enough to sustain the company for 3 years. Julian smiled, then quickly changed the subject. I'm not worried about you on the business front, but this marriage issue. How are you going to resolve it? I just smiled and said nothing. Isabel kicked Julian under the table. He reluctantly continued. Anyway, I've decided I want you as my brother-in-law. Figure it out. Tunno, brother, stop it. Isabel pretended to be shy but couldn't help smiling. Julian shot her a look, then said to me, This girl hasn't forgotten you since the day she met you. Hasn't dated anyone in years. Guess persistence pays off. You should consider her. I nodded. Let's take it slow. We need time to get to know each other first. After spending more time together over the next half-month or so, Isabel and I became official. She was very proactive, and frankly I found it hard to resist, but I hadn't divorced Victoria. I still went home occasionally, even bringing Isabel with me once. Victoria saw us but didn't cause a scene, just cried privately. As her belly grew larger, I went home less and less. Later, Sebastian confronted me a few times. He respected me, but Victoria was still his sister. His exact words were, Mother-in-law, my sister is tolerating you having another woman outside. But now she's about to give birth, and you're not even there to take care of her. That's not right, is it? I didn't say much, just gave non-committal answers. Although the Ainsworth family was influential, my company, Sterling Trading, was also substantial now, so they wouldn't act rashly against me. It wasn't until Victoria gave birth that I went to the postpartum care center, bringing Isabel with me. The Ainsworth family's attitude towards me had long cooled, though things hadn't completely broken down yet. Victoria lay in the hospital bed, smiling bitterly at me. Honey, come see the baby. It's not my child. Why would I look? I sneered. Victoria froze, then burst into tears. Honey, what are you saying? I haven't been with any other man besides you. How could it not be your child? Victoria, I told you divorce was the best ending. But you chose this despicable path. Don't blame me for what happens next. I took out my phone, found that short video showing her and Ethan, and tossed it onto the bed. The Ainsworth family crowded around, witnessing the explicit scenes between Victoria and Ethan. I calculated the dates. "This child cannot be mine," I said coldly. Arthur gritted his teeth. "Then why didn't you say so earlier? She's the one who rejected dignity. I gave her chances." I found another video clip and played it. "Watch this." A recorded conversation played, Ethan's voice. "Int Victoria, now that you're carrying my child, just pin it on Sincere Sterling. After the baby is born, we'll slowly poison him. Then the company, everything, will be ours." Victoria's voice, "And Sincere is smart. We might not be able to fool him." Ethan's voice, "Then what do we do?" Victoria's voice, "And let me think. I need to prepare some things beforehand, things to make him believe I've always loved him, like photos, a diary, that sort of thing." Chapter 9. I put my phone away and looked at the pale-faced Victoria. "I'm genuinely curious. What did you ever see in Ethan Cole?" Victoria, past despair, gave a bitter smile and sighed. "One wrong step leads to another. Initially, he just drugged me and then blackmailed me with the video. After that, I was trapped. My family all sided with you, even telling me I couldn't come back to the Ainsworth home if we divorced. So, targeting you was my only option. So, even that day at the board meeting, it was all an act," I stated. Victoria nodded. I turned to the Ainsworths. "And I will be divorcing Victoria. I assume you have no objections?" They were speechless, but I could see the resentment in their eyes. In their minds, I should have revealed all this sooner. But why should I have? They dared to mess with me, so they had to face the consequences. Am I supposed to just take it? Soon after, Victoria and I divorced. Then, the Ainsworth family began secretly trying to steal my business. So, Mr. Finch and I devised a plan. We led the Ainsworths into a deal that cost them a fortune, then began systematically dismantling their business empire. Ethan Cole was also part of this design. He was sent to the country where Mr. Finch operated and was promptly arrested there. He didn't die, but his fate was worse than death daily torture. As for the Ainsworth family, they collapsed completely within half a year. In her despair, Victoria jumped from a building. Before she died, she called me one last time, saying Ethan had ruined her, that none of this would have happened if he hadn't drugged her. I didn't respond. If she hadn't given him the opportunity, how could Ethan have drugged her in the first place? Isabel and I married at the end of the year, starting our new life together.